and why it's not just about the technology. And also why I think some of the faculty who are asked to teach a course online don't want to, or they've had a bad experience because some of these things aren't adhered to. And I'll throw one more thing in here, and that's academic policies. Okay? If you're going to have a quality online program, your academic policies have to reflect that the institution is behind this. Online education for an institution has to be an institutional, not mandate, not at all, but an institutionally supported initiative. So, you know, when I first started in online education and when Eric first started, I mean, we were from the ground up. I mean, it was grassroots, pick and pull pieces together and try to build something and get some buy-in with the faculty. Because now it is an investment, not only in the technology, but in these other areas, the institution has to be willing to put their money where their mouth is. And I don't know any other way to say it. I tell people, you're going to go into online education, the institution has a responsibility. And part of that responsibility is looking at the policies and procedures that the institution has in place. Promotion and tenure, which is usually a college or school decision, those things have to be addressed. I mean, we have to accept the fact that things have moved forward with technology, and if our promotion and tenure policies aren't taking into account then that those things are happening, then you're going to keep hiring, you know, younger and younger generations that are going to be like, I'd love to do this, but I don't have time because I've got to do my research. So that was probably more just my opinion than anything else. But let's talk about these three things. How many of you at your colleges or schools on campus have an office that provides the instructional design support for online courses? 3? 4, kinda? How many colleges are on campus? 6? Are you all College of Ed? Okay. So some of you may not know if you have it or not, but some of you know that you do. And when I talk about design, I am talking about instructional designers. I am not talking about web designers that can make things look great but don't have any instructional theory background. Instructional design is a thing. Okay? This is not something that people just sort of make up and figure out by looking at websites. It is actually based on theory. And my PhD was instructional technology, and instructional design was part of it. I studied back with the grandfathers, Dick and Carey. So actually today, I wouldn't even know who they're using. When I did my dissertation, it was on lessons that were delivered on Laserdisc. So did I just date myself? And a funny story, when my husband and I were kind of downsizing some stuff after our kids went to college, and I found the Laserdisc player. And I said, you know, you can toss this. And he said, okay. And I was down in one of our storage areas on our property about a year ago, and I went down there, and there's that stupid Laserdisc player. And I asked him, I thought you tossed this. And he was like, I can't. It's like a historical element in our family. I can't throw it out. And I'm just like, okay. So I have a Laserdisc player if anybody would like to come over and watch a movie. But the design part of the courses is critical. And almost always, I will say almost always, when you have unsuccessful students in mass in an online program, that is a huge part of your problem. If they are not instructionally designed well, the students are not going to be as engaged. They're not going to do as well. I'm a firm believer that faculty should not be playing both roles. And a lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people do. Unless you went through a college of education yourself, you did not take instructional design theory. You may be great faculty. I'm sure you are, and you're great in the classroom. When you start designing something like this, you need that. You need that help, and you should take it if it's available. I know that as faculty, we're always like, I got this, I don't need anybody to help me, I don't need a team of people. Trust me, if you have somebody who knows instructional design and can help guide you through the process, your courses are going to be so much better. Because even before I came to Blackboard, one of the things that would upset me so much when I would do consulting, even when I would go to campuses within my own university system, and I worked with 15 institutions, separate institutions. So I open up a course, and I go to school and I go, show me 5 courses. And they like, okay, we're going to show you these 5. I open them up, and every one of them is just full of PDFs and PowerPoints. That's it. Folks, that's not a course. And if that's what you're doing with your courses, you don't need, I'm sorry, you don't need an LMS. All you need to do is send a file by email with your PowerPoint slides. And that's, but, and you say that would be fine, but that's not what the students of today are looking for. They are looking for that more well-designed course that they can get to. They're looking for their grade book. They want all that stuff. My point is, if you're going to do this, have the designers help you make the courses good and think about how you might build them. And the other thing you need to think about with the design is how can you bring the courses to life? By life, I mean taking them beyond the PowerPoint slides, thinking about some multimedia, thinking about some video. And the first thing that I get from people is, oh, we can't afford to hire all those kinds of people. You have a computer science department on campus? You got students in those computer science classes? Do they need internships? You know, why don't you get these students to come in and help you with the multimedia? They won't do that?
Not doing this, no.
They won't do this? They won't build multimedia for you?
Probably not.
Really, if you paid them a low wage?
Well, school nursing by your students, correct? They're more likely to go off to Google or something like that for their internships and separate.
I guess well, I mean, we could, you know, you can always find a way that it won't work. But, yeah. I think, you know, when I was at the University of Texas at Austin, large computer science group, and all of those students can go, they go to Microsoft, they go all kinds of places. But there's plenty of them that are looking for other opportunities local that may not be their formal internship, but a way for them to practice working with clients, working with people. And let me tell you, working with faculty can be one of the most challenging opportunities for them. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. I'm a bit confused. So you're saying that in order to implement or build a course or to use Blackboard, one has to have either a PhD in design.
No. I didn't say that at all. Okay. I'm not even talking.
Find it online on how the design theory. You can't find that information online, or you can't find it by looking on Blackboard's website.
Okay. First of all, I'm not talking about Blackboard at all. Okay. I am technology agnostic. I don't care if you're using Learn, Canvas, Desire to Learn, Angel, which we own now, eCollege. That makes absolutely no difference to me. I haven't been inside the Learn platform in 4 years. I'm not about the technology at all. I'm basing things on my experience in working in the online world. Yeah, you could go in and you can go online and read about instructional design, but instructional design theory is more than just reading about it. There are, you probably have students in the College of Education right now that are taking instructional design courses. Those are the people that are living and breathing this stuff, unless you want to take on another discipline. The idea is it's not a PhD or a master's. It's somebody that's actually has some kind of training in instructional design theory. You know, objectives, outcomes, tying the two together. And the reason why it's important, particularly in online education, is because you're putting things on paper, so to speak. You're putting them into a technology. But that technology is holding all of this stuff that can then be reviewed by department chairs, deans, vice presidents, accreditors. So you want to make sure that your course is the best it can be. And that usually means a big part of it is tying your objectives to your outcomes and making sure that the two are matching. Okay? So, yeah, when I'm talking about this stuff, I'm not talking about Blackboard. This has zero to do with Blackboard and everything to do with online education in general. So if you look at the next one, you do have to have technology. One of the most important things about having the technology, whatever technology you're using when you're delivering online education, is to make sure that you understand how to use it at the very best level that you can. When you start thinking about online education, do each of your colleges and schools provide faculty development around how to develop a course online or how to put your materials together for online, how to use the technology for online? If those things aren't happening at your college or school level, that's a problem, because you need to know how to use these things. And this is where, You know, I mentioned this to Eric when we had a phone call last week. I'm all about centralizing and decentralizing. There are certain things that could be centralized at the institution level, and there are certain things that should be decentralized and at the college or school level. Every college or every institution has to make a decision on how they might do that. But coming up with a comprehensive faculty development series for faculty who want to teach online could be something institutional. And then each college can use, you know, the content however they want. But if you know, we have a series of services at Blackboard out of my group that's an adoption series. And it's all about technology adoption. And in our case, for that particular series, we work with Blackboard clients who don't feel like they're getting the biggest bang out of their technology purchase, their license. So it's all about helping the institution get more gain. You know, make sure people are using this stuff and that it's not just sitting there. That is something that is specific to Blackboard, but it is about adoption. It's about how the institutions are going to use technology, how the colleges use it, how the faculty use it, how you get the students to use it. And all of these things that I'm talking about are not rocket science, but if you don't live and breathe online learning and think about it every day and read about it every day and embed yourself in that area, it can seem overwhelming. And it's really not. It's just having a plan. I'm sure the institution has a strategic plan. I know you're so much like me, because I know when I was at the UT system and they go, "You got a strategic plan?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we got a plan." More than one. One of the things that should probably be considered, because even though you guys have some history with doing some online, and it sounds like you're willing to advance how you're doing some of this, whether it's hybrid or fully online, there needs to be some kind of strategic plan for online. You know, for an institution. That I think each college has some things that they do that feed into the master strategic plan, but because this requires so much coordination, that you really want to have something that is planned. If you have everything going willy-nilly, and I don't know how you're going to sign willy-nilly. Okay, willy-nilly. If it's like that, you're going to be doing a lot of repeating. You're going to reinvent the wheel. You're going to probably pay more in technology costs than you need to. So having the coordination, and you at colleges and schools have to be willing to allow the institution to help you with that. I mean, I've worked with so many institutions, and I was on one, you know, a couple of them for 8 or 9 years. As soon as the central office would say, "We want you to do something," you know, we immediately were like, "Oh no, you're not going to tell us what to do." When it comes, you know, we're from system, we're here to help, that kind of thing. Or we're from the government, we're here to help. I heard that a lot when I was in DC. The more that you can let go of some of your control when it comes to this stuff and let the institution help guide, you're going to come out much better. Okay, so that's just another side. The support part, I kind of mentioned this a minute ago when I was asking what level of support is happening in your colleges and schools when you want to do this. Let's say you sit down and you decide, we're going to take one of our certificates, not even a full degree, just some certificates, and we're going to put those online. The college or the school or the institution has to provide some kind of support, not only for you, but for the students. I used to tell the institutions in the UT system and at others where I consulted, as an institution, if you're going to get in this business and you're going to be competitive, and most people want to be competitive when they get out there, unless you're just trying to keep the students you have, most of you are going to be competitive wanting to get more students. If you're not providing all of the support services for those students who are not on campus in the same way that you offer them for the on-campus students, you are not going to be competitive at all. I'm working with an institution in Puerto Rico right now. And did you know that in Puerto Rico, it's 3,700 square miles, and there are 51 universities? Think about that. Texas is 280,000 square miles. So this is 3,700 square miles, 51 universities. And the institution I'm working with says, we can't seem to get any more students. And I'm like, well, I guess not. If you're going to go out in the water, maybe, because you're on an island, and all of your students are already committed to all these different 51 schools. So we want to do things, we want to internationalize a little bit. The first thing I told them, and they really had to think about this, all these services that you offer your face-to-face students, if you don't offer them online in a way that students can get to them, and that includes things like a 24/7 help desk, you're not going to be competitive, because the adult population that is looking for a lot of these courses, they're getting more and more savvy, and if you don't have the support structure for them, they're going to go somewhere else. Now, granted, you're going to have students that are going to be clamoring to go here. Whatever you offer online, they're going to want to be here. But if you really want to think outside the box, you've got to make sure that you're competitive. What kind of help desk do you have now? Is it 24/7? Most aren't. Most schools that are mostly residential aren't going to have that. But if you go online with any of your programs and you don't have that help desk available after hours or on the weekends, that's a bad sign. That means that the commitment isn't there. So when you talk about quality, it's all three of these. It's not just the technology, it's not just the faculty and the training and the content, but it's also the design of the content and the support that you're providing around it. Questions? Or comments? I'm going to put the standards up here. Are you a QM school? Okay, so you guys are quality, you just became member of Quality Matters. We had a little conversation about this earlier today. When you're developing online, when you're developing hybrid, especially if when you're developing hybrid, the bulk of what you're doing is online and what you're doing in this classroom is smaller, you have to be thinking about the quality standards. And this kind of helps with what you were saying, asking earlier about the instructional design. This can help guide the development of your courses. And really, we hear a lot about Quality Matters. Blackboard, we have our own exemplary course rubric. There are SREB, which is the Southern Regional Education Board, has a set of standards. The Sloan Consortium, or what is now OLC, has a set of standards or pillars. These folks don't get enough credit. This is where it all started at Chico State. They were the first ones that really came out with a solid set of quality standards for online. Everyone else, including ours, is six of one, half dozen of another. They're all very similar. But the point is, you need to pick one, and you need to adhere to it. So if you're a Quality Matters school, anyone who's doing anything online, hybrid or fully online, should be looking at that rubric as you develop your courses. The rubric is on the web. It's free and on the web. But if you're a member, you have access to all kinds of other tools that can help you. One of the things that it's a new line of business that my team came up with just recently, and had no idea that people would want it as much as they did. We now do quality course reviews. And the way that it works for us, let's say that you have, and you guys aren't there yet, I don't think. Let's say you have 300 or 400 courses that have been running for a year or two or longer. We bring a team of people that are PhDs, master's level, people who have experience in online, not Blackboard staff, people from the field. And we take those groups and put them on whatever standard a school is using, and they go in and they review every course. And they review every course against the standards, and at the end of their review, they then do a full summary of what they found in the course. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but I know when I was running an online program, and the people that we're doing this one for right now, we just did 420 courses for them. They now have a roadmap of exactly the different things that need to be adjusted in each of these courses to bring them up to the standards that they're adhering to. That make sense? So that's a service that we now provide through Blackboard. You can also do it through Quality Matters as a Quality Matters member. The one thing that I would caution you on is when you are going to think about reviewing courses to see how the quality fits against these standards, if you do it in-house, you're not going to get the same results. I mean, whether you hire your own people, individuals outside the school, or you hire Blackboard, or you use someone else, that's good. But if you use your own people to review each other's courses, you're not going to get as much real meat out of them in order to improve the courses. So quality is a huge deal, and quality is. Are you Middle States? Or are you? Yeah. Okay, so Middle States really doesn't matter which one of the 6. Regional accreditors. When they come to your school and you're doing anything online and they look at them, They're going to have somebody on that team, if online is a part of what you're doing, that knows online education. And when they have that person, they're going to be looking for what standards are you using, how are you making sure you're meeting those standards, what are the consequences if someone doesn't meet it, is the institution helping them fix whatever is broken in the course, how are the faculty being trained to understand this. So even if you have designers that are helping you develop courses, as faculty, you should know what these standards are, because they're going to influence how you are thinking about your teaching with that online course. So I just want to, I'm going to close, and then if you have any other questions, we can talk. The reason I put this slide up here sort of gets to my first point, that not all faculty have to do this. Matter of fact, you don't want faculty who don't want to do it doing it. You know, you should have plenty of people that want to, and eventually they can be champions and help other faculty understand that it's not that bad, but things are changing. And online education, you know, I was told in 1991 about distance education in general by a colleague of mine who was on faculty, and she said, you are going to waste your entire career. This is a flash in the pan. Nothing's going to happen. We're going to go right back to the way we have been teaching, which is how we should be teaching. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. This stuff is, and now with the internet's not going back in the box. Okay? Al Gore is not going to uninvent the internet. So if it's out, if it's going to be out there, then the best thing that you can do is embrace it in a way that fits your school or college or your style. Okay? That doesn't have to be cookie cutter. They don't all have to look alike. But if you don't think about those quality things, then you're just going to be contributing to all the other sucky courses that are out there. So you want to put these pieces together so that you can be wildly successful and know that your courses are looking better than the rest of the country's. Because it's a real serious problem now when we have these courses that are low quality. Let me say one thing about MOOCs. Everybody know what a MOOC is? Okay? MOOCs did not invent online learning. I want to make that very clear. Just because Harvard and some others decided to get into the online game and try to make money off of it does not mean that that's where it started. We've been doing online learning since the late 1990s, heavily, and we worked for 15 years to get those courses up to good quality. Highly engaging, very interactive, multimedia where appropriate, not just because you can. The courses, the MOOCs, for the most part, it's not that they're bad, but the hype around them, if you ever look at the Gartner hype cycle, you know, the Gartner hype cycle, they're up here and they're about to go down into the trough of disillusionment because of the hype, because everybody hyped these things up and they were the greatest things since sliced bread. The completion rates in MOOCs are about 3 to 5%. Now, if you start offering credit for them, different story. I've started 4 myself, and I have never finished one of them. How many of you have started a MOOC? How many of you have finished one? Okay. And it wasn't because I wasn't interested. I mean, I was interested. It was history of rock and roll. I thought this one is definitely going to keep my attention. It was just a, you have that one here? Oh, it's just, was it from here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the one you took, or did you take it from Florida?
There may be more than one, but it was one offered from here.
It may have been that one. But the problem was I couldn't stay engaged, even though I was interested. So they're great for lifelong learning. I think the thing that bothers me about the MOOCs is that they're so based on video. And I don't ever believe that there is one way to deliver content that's better than another. So if you really want to design courses correctly, you're thinking of content that is relevant. I mean, you're thinking of the technology for the delivery that's relevant and aligned with the content itself. So you don't use technology just because technology is there. You know, you think about why you're using a particular type of technology when you're delivering content. So with that, you know, let me close, and I wanted to give you a couple minutes for questions, but not keep you after 1 o'clock. So I know you all have to race back to your offices and to your classrooms and